Boom. All right, to get some Mario shoes. Honestly, your foot position might not even matter on this. Like you could, let me make sure everything else is turned off, so we're not distracted. Just looking good. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my mask as well. All right, so you could go in starting with if I just go into the smooth, turn that up, and then I'm basically just destroying the shape of this foot. Like I'm just starting fresh. So you could start with this like stump like shape even. There. I'm basically gonna do a primitive. We'll start with a sphere, insert sphere. I want to get that round front of it. And man, there's a lot of different methods that we could do this. I want to use tools that you primarily know though. So I'm going to mask this off. Actually, first step is to split it off into a new subtool. I'm just gonna go to subtool, split, group split, because we're gonna be doing a lot of Z remeshing and stuff on this. I don't want to mess with the other bodies mesh. I'm gonna go into geometry. I'm gonna make sure I'm working on this. Yeah, okay, it's working. And I'm gonna Z remesh. I'm gonna do keep same. Well. And a quick way will be to just mask. So I just mask that off, right? And we can get some nice smoothness in here. I'm just making sure that mask is all horizontal. Let's do it from the front actually. That way we get a very horizontal mask. So, and we should just be able to shift and smooth this bottom, or use that H polish. Where is that polish? Wait, no, H polish. H polish right there. Use that to kind of make that flat surface in there. See what we got now, Ricardo? We got this kind of orb shape that's been polished on one side. You didn't necessarily have to do that with the mask. It's just I like the mask for precision's sake. I'm going to Z remesh again.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what that tool did.
Oh, the H polish, yeah. Well, yeah. It doesn't work the same as it does in Core Mini because it's using a different like sculpting mode. And so, but yeah, so that flattens out. The trim dynamic does the same thing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So there you go. You got that shape. And I would probably let me look up Mario's shoes. I don't know what the hell Mario's shoes look like. Let's see it. All right. Yeah, so they're just kind of oblong, for sure. You could definitely go in and use the move tool on top of that, move topological. I'm going to turn off all this other body because I don't want to see it anymore. There we go. Now we're focused. I just pressed F to focus on the mesh there because it was going insane. I'm just gonna pull this back, kind of start making that shape. You gotta be careful though, because you don't want to pull too hard in the wrong direction. Right there. And this part's billowing over a little bit too much, so I'm gonna shift, smooth that back in. I'm gonna use move topological. Actually, first I'm gonna Z remesh again, because anytime that you stretch out polys like that, it's always a good idea to Z remesh. Oop, I used half that. I don't want to go half that time. I want to do same. There we go. Just got that going. And that should hook up nicely. Let's see. Let's turn on the rest of it. Okay. Oops. Yeah. We can move topological again to fit the feet. I want to make sure that bottom is as flat as possible, though. Yeah, so that's that Mario foot type shape, and we could go in and extract these little pads on the bottom as well. Definitely able to do that. We might need to divide this up a little bit more so our mask isn't too, like, look how grainy our mask is there. Or let me go into non-polyflow. Look how, like, you can see each individual quad in that mask. So I want to divide that mesh up a little bit. So I'm going to go to geometry, divide, boom. Notice how it smooths it out. And we can get that front pad. I don't know exactly the shape of it, but I'll just freeball it. And the back pad was its own separate thing, it looked like. So if we go in, make that heel. Right there. And then I'm going to go from the side now, or kind of over here. Subtool, extract. Let's use a bigger thickness than that. Let's do 0.02, maybe, hopefully. Let's see. Might be too much. Boom. That's a bit too much. I'd do 0.01. And then let's do a lot of smoothing on there. Boom. Yeah. Sweet. You can accept that. And as always, you can Z-remesh to make it something that you can sculpt on again. I'm going to do half, and I'm going to do keep groups. I always do keep groups after I extract, by the way. I always do keep groups. There we go. Then you can just go in with your move topological. Start messing with that. There you go. That's your Mario foot shape. Just kind of, it was basically starting from, because I knew that sphere shape was the most important thing, and then we had to get that flat base off of it there.
Sweet, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. A skirt was also requested. Let's start with that then. Now, a skirt is going to be, it's a little bit more complex. It also depends on the skirt, because you can have like different shaped skirts and can get a little bit tricky. But what it comes down to is just extracting. I'm going to extract around the pelvis area, and I'm just masking out right now. Oh wait, I might have a mask somewhere else, so I'm going to undo that mask. I'm just going to do that Control Alt drag. Oh, whoops, my bad. Just Control drag. Boom. And so we have that kind of loop around there. And I'm going to go to Subtool, Extract. I'm going to need a bit more thickness than that. Probably 0.0. I'm going to try 0.02 again. Let's try that with smooth all the way up. Boom. And I'm going to accept that. Oh, wait. I'm turning off double first. My bad. And then I'm going to accept that. Because remember, double pushes into the model as well. So the same, if I had double on, then the same thickness that it protrudes out, it's also going to have that thickness on the inside. And I don't want to see that the end of the skirt be that thick, you know. So I'm going to undo that mask. and then immediately Z-Ray Mesh with half enabled and keep groups on. I'm also just going to turn off adapt. I hate adapt. No, it just takes forever. I'm just going to move topological. You can start dragging this down. And then I can come in, Z-Remesh again. Boom. We have a nice sculptable skirt right here. And there you go. Does that help, Sandy? Hell yeah. Any other shapes? I want to make sure, like, this is an open forum, guys. Just ask me what kind of clothing you're trying to make, and then I'll do it on this. It's super jacked, dude, but you know, you'll still understand the method. Odds are it's probably already a tool that we know, but we're just not super familiar with yet. All right. Sounds like everyone knows their stuff. Let's look at the designs just to make sure. Our sharing channel. Yeah, this one's. Oh, this is for the round shoes. Yeah, makes sense. Looks like nothing too crazy on here. Honestly, though, for your pants, because you have that belt in there as well, you might just want to go in and retopologize in Maya first, and then export, and then just extrude out that belt. I'll show you that, because like you're going to be working at much lower poly in Maya, and so it's going to be a lot more easier to like make kind of geometric shapes like that. Because like think about it, you know how to model that belt already. Like that's just like that's just one extrusion, right? Like you would just grab that line of polys, just extrude out, boom, it's done. So yeah, this for stuff like that you know you can confidently model in Maya. Feel free to model your character in quad draw first, and then do stuff in there. I just wanted you guys to have access to ZBrush first, because like, I don't know, it'd be considerably more difficult for me to model this type of like musculature on the fly while I'm also doing all of like the extrusions and shit, you know, like it's going to be confusing to get some nice flowing edges. Also, ZBrush is sick because it has that Z-Remesh, right? And now it's almost like a little bit of a guide on what your topology needs to look like in order for this to work. Like it's pretty sick, because you know that you need to like outline this muscle group now, and it's gonna have to bunch up in here and still flow around. It's gonna be sick. Yeah, I fucking love ZBrush. Any more questions? Any other like clothing objects or something on the character that you're thinking about? I have no idea how to approach my hair still. Yeah, okay. Sandy, do you have an image of, yeah, how can I actually get that flare at the end of the show? Sandy, do you have an image of your hair in the server already? I can't remember. I'm assuming there is, because, yeah, okay, I'll look for it in a second. The flare at the end of the shorts, Ricardo, I would do exactly the same thing that I'm doing for this skirt. I'm just using my move topology brush, pushing that out, going a little bit smaller, and kind of pushing back in, kind of like almost like a sort of Ness from Earthbound series type shorts. You can just pull out on that bottom part and then push back in right there. You can also hold, you can also do smooth, because remember how smooth kind of pushes in on the surface? If you're using your regular smooth, you can move topological, pull that out, and kind of just smooth back in here. Either's gonna work. Be careful, if you're using the smooth approach though, be careful for messing up the, that bottom loop. But yeah, as always, make sure the brim is looking straight though. So Sandy asked a question. Oh, did that answer your question, Ricardo? It's just pretty much the move brush. Awesome. So Sandy asked the question of the hour. And that is, I don't know how to model hair. And my God, modeling hair, I'm not gonna lie, is one of the most annoying things. Let's see what Sandy's hair setup looks like though. It could be bad, it could be not so bad. It could be fine. Sandy, oh, Sandy, this one right here. Okay, this one's not too bad. It's kind of, so it kind of drapes over one eye. Okay. So first you have to do your face. You have to get that face done. And I'm gonna go into faces after we get back from break. But I want everyone to just know where we're starting with that. So if I was to give him that haircut, it's gonna look pretty great on him. I'm just gonna start with a new sphere because hair is usually asymmetrical. I might start off, well, actually, wait, yours drapes down pretty far. I could extract that out, potentially. I'll show you both methods. So first method is appending, boom. And I'm just gonna append a sphere. I'm gonna select that sphere. Let me enable the head so I can see what I'm sculpting with. And it's pretty much the same as the shorts. I'm gonna activate symmetry for a little bit and get that overall shape. I'm just gonna move brush. Move brush is God tier. I'm just gonna smooth this out. Move brush is God tier. Don't worry, it's gonna look like garbage for a while. Also notice how this is getting all stretched to fuck. If I go to geometry and, oh, it's saving. Dynamesh. Dynamesh is similar to ZRemesh, and some of you have been using it, so I'm glad to see that. But it's perfect for like this rough type of stuff. I'm just gonna Dynamesh at 48, and notice how there's no longer that pull where all the edges were going up. So I'm just gonna Dynamesh right here, smooth it out, boom. Looks like a beret right now. Your hair goes almost, your hair goes all the way past the legs. So I'm gonna need to keep Dynamesh, and I'm just gonna keep pulling this and pulling that out. And I'm gonna Dynamesh again, boom. Let's get some nice geo in there now. And I'm gonna pull out the sides of that. it kind of flares out towards the bottom. So I'm gonna get it like probably to that thickness there. And then we got to fix up this top, right? Because this does not look right. Pull it to the sides. And honestly, in high end like hair modeling, it gets real tedious. There's a lot of the same repetitious stuff. Thankfully, we have a lot of nice stylized designs in this class. So I don't think anyone has to deal with super high poly hair, thankfully. There we go. And I'm going to make this go over, I think it goes over the ears. Yes, so it does go over the ear, but there's like kind of a different flap in there. So I'm going to pull that out as well. I'm going to Dynamesh immediately. So I want to get this shape looking spicy. Going to Dynamesh again. Boom. So whenever my polys are getting a bit too stretched out to work with, I always just Dynamesh again, you know? Same old, same old. Dynamesh. I'm going to Dynamesh at a little bit higher resolution to keep this gap in there. Boom. And then we're going to need to, I think it's a little bit, has a little bit of volume in the back. Yeah, it has this kind of poof out sort of volume in the back right there. So if I pull on that, option to turn on the grid. The polyframe, it's this button right here. It's also Shift F. If that's what you're talking about. I think it is though. Here we go. So I'm getting that volume in the back. And now I'm going to turn off symmetry, right? Because I have to get that swoop over the one eye. So I'm going to press X to turn off symmetry. Notice how it's no longer pulling symmetrically, whereas it was before. And I'm going to start pulling out that same piece. Pull out that draping piece of hair. Let's look what the source image looks like again. Okay, so it's like, it's a little bit divided up, okay. So it swoops over the eye, but it also billows out. So I need to get kind of both those features in there. I'm going to Dynamesh again. If you're ever pulling stuff out like this and it gets too compressed, you can always go to inflate. Where is it at? Inflate, I have it bound to a hotkey, and you can kind of build that volume like that if your thing gets too compressed, whatever it may be. So I'm going to keep pulling this. Dynameshing again. that start from, though? I want to make sure it gets right starting point. So it starts over the opposite eye, pretty much. So I need to move this point over here. Boom. There, Dynamesh. And so that's pretty much it. Once I get to this phase, though, I would want to Z remesh because it's like a little bit too unwieldy. I want to get rid of these lumps, and if I'm smoothing right now, they don't go away very easily. They do over time, but I just want to speed up that process. But let's get some nice geo in there. So if I Z remesh, and I'm gonna do half. So I'm just Z remesh at half. And like I said before, Z remesh takes a long time. Boom. Right there. So now we can start cleaning up these shapes easier because there's less polys to deal with. Get a nice swoop in there. You can see how I'm kind of creating that overall hair shape then. So the method, as a refresher, is to start Dynamesh with really just big shapes overall. And then once you get all of the shapes kind of represented, you can go in Z remesh and start working with the more minute details. If you have, let's go back into design. If you have these little streaks in there, I would say we're probably not gonna be able to do all these little like individual streaks. We could, but like that would require us to project that detail onto what we're gonna make in Maya, which is kind of impossible. So what we need to do is instead just only do the main ones. There was some at the bottom of this. I'd probably do that with the Dam standard. This one right here. And this brush is phenomenal for, let me turn off polyframe so you can really see. It's phenomenal for going in, kind of carving out divot shapes like that. But of course, you then have to deal with all the polys that it compressed and shit. So I'd probably Z remesh after that. And then work from there. And Z remesh is chugging along. There we go. You can work on filling in that extra stuff. Because we only need the base of this, like the base shape of this to be good, right? We don't need to go in and sculpt all the hair, each individual strand, because we're going to be retopologizing everything in Maya, and you'll be able to model a lot of stuff in there. But it's really good for kind of getting these basic shapes in there. So that help you out sandy. It's a hair is no joke, honestly. Like any 3D artist is gonna say that they hate fucking hair. Like it's so annoying to make. But yeah, that's the process for it. Any other shapes, guys? Any other shapes? Man, my blacksmith has like a sweet haircut and a skirt on. He's decked out. He's ready to go. Though I think the skirt and the hair might cause some problems around big machinery, you know. So might need to adjust my character design right now. But yeah, so that's a lot of the stuff for clothing, different shapes that people want to make. Do you think you could maybe do a ponytail or a braid? Yeah, that's gonna be more time for sure, but it's definitely possible. I'll show you how. So if I had a ponytail, let's just do a braid down the back, I guess. There's a few, like, if you're going for high fidelity, there's like separate brushes that people make that have a braid. So when you draw out along the mesh, it draws like a curve and maps a pre-built braid onto that. But I like that's for like crazy detail stuff. I just want to show you how to make that basic sort of shape. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna append another piece of hair. I'm gonna do the sphere. You guessed it. Now that sphere should be in the scene. It's kind of hidden right now, but if I move it, you'll be able to see it. Boom. And I'm gonna make my method for doing this is basically making that like long cylindrical shape, and then kind of pushing out on the different parts of the braid, right? Like how it wraps around itself. So first step, let's get this stretched out. Stretch this to as far as it will go. Ooh, I don't have symmetry enabled. I'm going to enable symmetry. I just pressed X for symmetry. And I'm going to hold Shift to kind of start, see how it's slowly pushing that into, it kind of slims it down. I'm going to do that more though. Let's go to Geometry, Z Remesh, the classic, you guessed it. I'm going to do half. I'm going to Z Remesh this. Smooth it. Just getting it down to a general braid size. There we go. And I'm just going to move that back into position. I'll have it kind of resting on the rest of the hair. Go back to my Move Topological brush right here. I highly recommend setting up hotkeys if you haven't done so yet. Got a video on how to do that. So you have this braid, or the overall braid shape right here. And off the top of my head, I have no idea what braids look like. So, I mean, I have an idea, but let's see. Let's see what we're going to go for here. This is, yeah, okay. So just swoops in one way, swoops in the other. Swoops in one way, swoops in the other. So we won't be able to use symmetry for this, unfortunately. But if I go in and I'm just going to use clay buildup to kind of get into my rough shapes. He's turning into a Dothraki soldier. Dude, fuck yeah, he is. Don't cut off his braid, though, said. Doesn't that mean that they died in battle or some shit? So I'm just getting those rough braid shapes in there. I'm just pulling on that fake clay. With my clay buildup. And if you're using clay buildup and it's like really jagged, it's probably because you have the alpha on. It normally comes with this alpha enabled and it's like really strong. I kind of like it, but I prefer it with alpha off completely. And we're just pulling on this stuff. So that's pretty much it. The same method as all sculpting is that you start with those basic shapes and you just keep refining them with your brushes. Keep in mind I did Z-remesh before I started doing the actual sculpting part because it was going to be, it's just when you stretch something out like that, you just immediately have to get the polys into a proper shape. And then I'm moving to topological for the end. Boom, bang, right there. We can also, if it's not like detailed enough for you, you can always just divide. And then you can even divide again, get a super smooth shape. I'm gonna stick at that 2 though. And you can carve out these details with Dynamesh standard again. Boom, look at that, guys. Oh, Dynamesh standard. Freaking, I want to find Dynamesh and just kiss him on the lips because that man created an amazing brush. So good. So you can do this. And honestly, this shape is kind of, this is going to be hard to sort of get working in Maya. So I think I'm going to try some janky shit to save you time if you make it in ZBrush. Because you saw how easy that was to kind of model that up, right? The only problem would be some of the detail on this. Maybe if I go in with a higher intensity on this Dynamesh standard, I can kind of push this even further. Yeah. Yeah, I really want to sell those creases in it. There we go. So I'm going to see if I can Z-remesh this. I'm going to go into my high poly. And I feel like I went a little bit too high poly too fast there. Some of it's just kind of lumpy, unclean. I have to go back in there and smooth this stuff out. I'm using alternate smooth for this. Remember, that's holding shift, click on the mesh, and then dragging around, smoothing. I don't like that lumpiness, looks very unclean. So once you have that base shape in there, let's see if we can Z-remesh and get this down to a level that is nice. Because we might be able to just export this directly to Maya and not worry about quad drawing the braid in Maya. That'd be pretty dope. In fact, you might be able to do that for a lot of different hair type shapes if you're having problems with it. All right, so let's see. It's still pretty high poly. Let's do Z-remesh half again. Boom.
In order.
I'm gonna mute Anna there. So yeah, we might be able to just Z-mesh this like that, and then export this over to Maya and have a nice, simple braid there. All right. Well, for the next half an hour until break, I'm just gonna be hanging out. You guys should definitely work on your character models though. Get them ready to start to make the clothes, because this will be our last week technically in ZBrush. The project is due 2 weeks from now, so it's not due when we come into class next week. It'll be due the week after that, and it'll just be your gray mesh of your model in Maya. No textures, no materials on it, just that. But yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. So get cranking. The completed sculpture is due in 2 weeks, right? No, your character model in Maya. So I just want you guys to get a nice base in ZBrush, and then next week we're going to do that quad draw. Remember how I was showing you guys that on the face? We're going to do that quad draw that I was doing on our face from that, like our kind of assembly of heads. We're going to do that same process, but for the entire body. So it's going to be I don't know. I love that process. It gets therapeutic once you get the hang of it. But modeling hair will never be therapeutic. It's very annoying. And trying to get that lumpy aesthetic out of there is pretty hard. Pretty difficult. So we are not going to use ZBrush for the rest of the semester anymore. Unfortunately, no, because we have to, like I said, this is basically a sample course. Like we're blasting through each different discipline in the pipeline. Next up is texturing. So we're going to get proper colors on our model. And it's just we're just going to keep going from there. So unfortunately, ZBrush, you'll have to explore it in your own time. I highly recommend investigating it and getting better at it. If you were looking for a job in kind of character creation or environment creation, so character art or environment art, you'll definitely use ZBrush if you're going to be working anywhere, pretty much. But yeah, so our time with ZBrush is running short. But yeah. Dude, yeah. Are you liking it, Roberto?
Yeah, I started liking it once I started figuring out how to use it.
Yeah, because when you first open it, there's so many fucking buttons, dude. It's insane. And then once you get once you understand that stuff, and you start flying with it, it's nice. Can I get some help with merging stuff together? Hell yeah. What are you looking at, Sandy? What are you trying to merge?
Okay, so for like the fingers of my hand, I need duplicates, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like merge stuff together, but it won't let me, saying that like there's other subtools that aren't visible, even though like I'm pretty sure there aren't. I don't.
Oh, okay. So, which merge button are you clicking, by the way?
Merge down.
Merge down. Okay. So click on your fingers,
Okay.
And then let me find a subtool just to. Okay, that's I need something else. There we go. So let me disable everything else. So in this head, this is basically your hand, right? And it's comprised of a few different things in there. But I think you might have one of your objects like this. One of them might be like this. So see how my mustache is kind of hidden there?
Mm-hmm.
In order to undo that, just press Control Shift and then click, boom, and it will pop in there. And then you can probably merge down. Try that for me.
Okay. It still says that.
Click on the tool underneath it then. Because if I merge down, it would go into this hair. But if I have part of the hair not visible, then it's not going to be able to merge. So do that same Control Shift click on the object right below it in this subtool menu.
No. I think. Wait. Okay, now for like each subtool, apparently it's like copying like the whole body onto it. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, please do. Let me
I'm
enable that.
confused. Okay.
I'm gonna stop recording.